So let's say you've gone through the first screen process, and now you got a group of users that you want to message. So this is the first contact and the first real communication that you're actually having with the people. Although to be fair, we've kind of already established a shadow communication by means of the zero screen. That is what's being conveyed through your profile and through your pics. But we now want to build upon that shadow communication. Now, congruence is important, so we want to keep our tone similar throughout the entire interaction. So let's take a look at what it is that we're actually trying to accomplish here. Now, obviously, volume is a major consideration here, so we're going for a one-size-fits-all initial message. Many people advocate, reading her profile and finding something in there that you can comment on to show her that you actually read it. Now, in my opinion, this can actually come across as kind of transparent and trying for rapport, in fact. And frankly, I think it's a waste of time. Any benefit that might be garnered from doing this is certainly not enough to offset the results that come from running volume. I mean, let's take a look at what my fucking browser looks like after I run the first search and screen. Okay? Traditionally, you would now go through these and send your messages one by one. I mean, just looking at all those and imagining how long it would take to read each of these profiles and come up with a unique message for every single one, as most mainstream dating advice would suggest, it simply makes my fucking brain bleed. Like, even with a fully dialed and awesome profile and a super sick-ass first message, your reply rate is still going to be absolutely abysmal without doing volume. I mean, it's no wonder people think online dating is bullshit, because they're adhering to these old, outdated, sentimental ideas about how this shit should work, okay? These are ideas that are essentially trying to graft real-life strategies onto online, which is, in fact, fundamentally different. So yes, I strongly advocate sending the same damn message to every girl, okay? Fuck it. Girls will be like, oh my God, it's copy paste. He didn't even read the profile. I mean, that's like a man saying, oh my God, women are always complaining about guys catcalling them. What's the big deal? Okay, it's like, motherfucker, you don't get it, okay? Because you're not the one that's experiencing these things from our side of the fence, okay? If you spend an inordinate amounts of time reading shit and crafting these unique messages, you simply are not going to get the results. The way I see it, there will be plenty of time to get to know her and have the real connection later on down the road when we've actually met up. And then we can both afford to be more invested. Again, remember, time is the commodity here. Your precious time on this earth that is ticking away relentlessly, even as you watch this fucking program. The other major component of our messaging is going to be brevity. Okay, we want our interactions to be very concise, and we want to avoid, again, what I call textual ass grabbery. We are simply executing the program here. We're going to run them, and we're going to discard any who don't comply. Look, if you've seen me in Field Live, or if you've been in my hot seat, or if you've even read my book for that matter, you know that my real life game, my verbals, I'm pretty witty, I'm pretty verbose. You might be surprised to discover as we go through this that while, yeah, there are going to be little sparks of genius sprinkled throughout, for the most part, I adhere to a very, very basic script, and I just run that. Again, the way I see it, there's going to be plenty of time for all that Oscar Wilde shit with the bon mots and the witticisms once I get out on the actual date. Now, as in a real life game, you want to avoid anything that smacks of trying for rapport. And that means like asking her all these questions, making like repeated commentary about how she seems to you, lots of chasing, trying to get her to comply and give the number, etc., etc. In fact, an old chestnut that helped me immensely when I was first starting out back in the day was don't ask questions, make statements and commands. So breaking and or neutral rapport is the way to go for maximum return on investment here. You don't want to qualify yourself, nor do you want to qualify her too much. Now, this is kind of subtle. Many guys learn these concepts and they kind of go overboard with them, becoming this like full cocky asshole, like flagrantly telling the girls and like making statements that show how little of a fuck they give, like I don't care, blah, blah, blah. And basically the pendulum is swung in the other direction too far. The basic rule of thumb is to, again, show, not tell. And again, the buyer frame is also important here. The buyer-seller dynamic is paramount. As with that intent rapport stuff, this is a subtle thing with a lot of nuances. It's very easy to go overboard and come off like some kind of delusional, cocky idiot. So there should be less open stating that you're the buyer. Rather, it should be subtly evident by your overall tone. Now, you can compliment the girl, but if you do, it should kind of just be like a shrug at best, like me. Understand there's a difference between sales and marketing, as my friend Derek says. Like, we're not selling them anything. We are marketing ourselves. They can either take it or leave it. Okay? It's one thing to be indifferent, but at the same time, that's not going to get you anywhere at the end of the day. The so-called product graveyard is filled with awesome ideas that just never got off the ground because they were not properly marketed. So bear that in mind. Anyway, all the same principles we applied when we were actually writing our profile are still going to apply here as far as the tone of your messages are concerned. And that means we're going to be focused and concise. We are going to lead the conversation. We're not going to be like a wishy-washy punk ass, okay? Avoid self-deprecation, except perhaps as a foil to your narcissism, to show her that it's kind of a tongue-in-cheek humor type of thing. Avoid neediness at all costs. Avoid logical topics. And in fact, anything that is going to require her to put thought or even the smallest amount of effort into her reply. Very important. You know, basically, I operate as though she's a complete idiot until proven otherwise, right? Even asking her something like, what's your dream job? Like a simple question like that, that is putting too much pressure on her to reply, okay? I just want her to be able to not think and reply. We want to send purely value-giving, light texts. Another thing is don't draw attention to the fact that you're on a dating site. Some guys do this constantly. It boggles my mind. Like, oh, I know it's Tinder. It's kind of weird. There's no need for that. Again, avoid it. Another thing, and this is pretty important. This is a very important one. You want to get her at least somewhat enthusiastic about the idea of going out with you before you actually go for the number close. Many guys just go right for it. And again, as we go through this, it's going to almost seem like that's what I'm doing. But note, I will ensure in most cases that before I go for the number, there is, again, at least some sort of enthusiasm about meeting up with me. Also, bear in mind when you're sending out these messages is that there's no like pressing need for you to close immediately. Some of these interactions can actually play out over a couple of days. Remember, this is like playing like online poker. You're running several hands at once. Now, again, make sure that you maintain the buyer frame. You're not just constantly pitching her like, so when are we hanging out, et cetera, et cetera. At least not before there's a mutual kind of excitement and both you and her are both sold on the idea. So let's talk about the first message. This is pretty important, but perhaps not as important as you might think, oddly enough. If you set up your profile correctly, then your first message just needs to be good enough, okay? Not amazingly spectacular, although you should probably be constantly refining and tweaking it until you find something that actually works very well for you. But the thing is, you know, girls just want to have fun, right? And with the first message, you just need to be not a fucking idiot. And if your pics and profile appeal to the girl, she's going to bite back because, yeah, they're actually on there to get laid as well. That's the whole point. So let's go ahead and take a look at the overview for your first message. So what we're trying to do here is walk a bit of a fine line between several things. You want the message to be not too normal, but not too douchey, for lack of a better word. You want it to be unusual, but not like crazy Looney Tunes town. You want it to be romantic, sexual, man to woman, whatever, but not vulgar. That means no physical comments. You also want to avoid like a usual greeting, like hello, right, or hi. In fact, I actually do this in real life as well. Like if I open a girl in real life and I tap her on the shoulder, I'll usually say good evening, as opposed to hi, right? Your tone should kind of be interested, yet nonchalant about it. You want to be short, your message to be short, but not too short, unless you are too short, the rapper. You want to spell correctly, avoid using like you, are, net speak, unless of course it's tongue-in-cheek. As we said before, self-deprecating can be good as long as it doesn't veer off into like lack of confidence, desperation land. You want to be slightly challenging, perhaps. And finally, perhaps most importantly, the message should be funny. Okay? You want to make it funny, make her laugh, right? I'd also say that you kind of want it to be somehow harmonic with or complementary to the tone of your overall profile. It should, like, let me put it this way, it should make sense that this guy would send this message, if you can follow. All right, so again, congruence is very, very key with the program. So let's go ahead and take a look at some bad examples, okay? Now, note, when I say that, I mean that these are broad types of messages that women usually respond poorly to, okay? Which, when I say poorly, I mean the vast majority of the time that means that they don't respond at all. And look, in the 3 years that I was grinding it out to create the program, I tried them all, okay, in the name of due diligence. And that's what the community was always based on back in the day. The mantra was, everything must be field tested. So if you're sitting there and you're watching this thinking, hey, you know, I do these things that he's saying are worthless and terrible. Is he saying I'm worthless and terrible? Fuck this guy, right? Well, allow me to assure you, I have done everything that you have and likely much, much worse. So let's take this opportunity to move past all of this ugliness and loneliness and start using stuff that actually works. I'm here for you. So perhaps unsurprisingly, the most ineffective messages tend to fall into 4 broad categories, which are as follows. Fetish weirdo / pervert. This guy goes straight to the point with like sexual and frequently bizarre statements. So having said that, let's go ahead and take a look at a couple of these. So this first guy says, let me butt fuck you. And gets no response. All right, another one here. The guy opens with, I have a piercing somewhere on my body. Guess where it is? Hint, penis. And then a couple hours later, or actually a couple days later, why didn't you answer, whore? Big mystery. Moving right along, this one's kind of interesting. The guy says, this is his opener, girl damn, I honestly just want to fuck the shit out of you and never call you again. Would that be cool? And the girl's response, absolutely, I'm so glad you messaged me. I always fuck the shit out of random guys who show absolutely zero respect for other human beings. As a matter of fact, it's hard for me to turn down. I was like 3 hours late for work today because every inconsiderate ass that I passed on the street said something like, damn sexy, I'd rip that shit up, or something equally demeaning. And I just couldn't stop myself from dropping immediately to my knees and sucking them off before bending over to get fucked. One of them tried to use a condom. And I was like, oh, hell no, motherfucker. You want this pussy, you take all of it. So anyway, can't wait to take your dick next. Although I'm pretty sure I have gonorrhea. I like this girl. But and then the guy replied, oh, that just turned me on. I love a good BJ before banging a girl out. 7 p.m. tonight? I can do 8 if you're going to be late. Like, I really hope this guy is just trolling and bored. Okay? Let's have a look at another. I want to be that pussy on your shirt. And by shirt, I mean my dick in your ass. The girl says, oh God, so fucking romantic. Let me ask you something. Do you like wine and cheese? And by wine and cheese, I mean dick in your ass. Here we go. This is kind of like an example of the fetish weird. Who will say something like, I love your feet. Can I lick them? Or some bullshit like this. He's like, I would roll your well-shaped, chocolate-covered body in roasted almonds. This is about to get messy. She says, yummy. He says, how do you feel about sexually submissive men? And she says, how do you feel about having boiling water poured down your ass crack? He's like, I would be game for anything but boiling water. Well, at least he's game for anything but boiling water, right? So again, these types of messages, they're not going to typically get a good response. And think about it. Any girl who would respond to something like that she probably does have fucking gonorrhea. So, yeah. The next one is the nice guy, the boring guy. And this is the guy who actually reads the profile and then gives some kind of commonality. I mean, maybe this guy's actually making an honest attempt here to be a genuine guy. He'll find some commonality and then he'll message her. He's like, "Hi, I like Coldplay too." Or, "Hi, I was in Thailand last year as well. Maybe we can steal a private jet and fly back together." This guy, he's just like your standard dude, right? He's just like a generic man, like Yawnville Central. Now, there's a couple of problems with this. The first and foremost among them being the fact that the girl has seen this message probably literally countless times. It's boring. And further, it can oftentimes seem disingenuous and actually transparent what he's trying to do, even if the guy is actually really interested in the girl. And furthermore, doing this takes actual time. And this is going to go against the tenets of the program. Remember, volume, systemization, automation, screening. So let's have a look at one of these guys here. So this guy says, and nice picture as well, but he's like, "So first off, I'm not too good at this whole messaging process, but just hear me out. I'm a nice guy looking for someone to spend time with and possibly start a relationship with. I'm not looking for sex or hookup, because that's for immature guys who don't know what they want out of life. I don't smoke or do drugs and rarely drink. I have a good sense of humor, show don't tell, bro, and enjoy cheering others up or just cracking jokes. So I know you want to make sure people read your profile, but I'm not really sure how to necessarily do that. I know I can talk about myself more, but if you're looking for a good guy who treats women right, feel free to message me back." Now, okay, look, there's a couple variants on the nice guy, and one of these is what I call the earnest fellow, okay? And this is the guy that goes out of his way to show the girl how honorable he is, how he's not like the other guys. This is the guy who bemoans the fact that girls only date assholes. It's like, "Methinks the gentleman doth protest too much with his fedora," okay? That aside, it's simply kind of negative, and it can also come across as unconfident, right? Two no-nos. Another variant of this that you'll sometimes kind of see is like what I call the too cute message, right? He kind of gets too cute. He's like, "Hi there, I was wondering what color limo we should get for our honeymoon." I mean, at least he's trying, but somewhere it just kind of goes a little sideways. I mean, this is one of those things that's kind of difficult to pinpoint, right? It's like porn. I can't define it, but I know it when I see it. So anyway, the next guy here, the next of the four, is the cocky asshole. Now, this is the best of the four, I suppose, quote unquote, in the sense that it probably works the most out of the four, but it just goes way over the edge and comes across as qualifying himself and or overcompensating for insecurities. There's an old saying, the rich man doesn't need to say he's rich. So let me show you a couple of examples here. First, we have this one that says, this is his opener, "Hey, you with the nice face, number, now." No response. The next day, "Haha, are you going to make me say please?" The next day, "Look, I know you're shy, but yes, you can have my babies." Another example, okay, this I like this one. This guy's pretty amusing. He says, his opener is just "let's play," okay? And he's got this picture of him posing all jacked. He's an older fellow. And she says, "No." He says, "Come on, I have the biggest dong since Donkey Kong. And I'm rich. I have yachts and fancy cars and beautiful hot girls to share. Don't be a fool and jump on my rich tool." The funny thing is, this probably works for this guy some of the time, right? It probably actually does kind of work some of the time, but again, who's going out with this? Like fucking gold diggers in fucking Marin County or some bullshit. Another one you see is like this. This isn't a message. This is just the guy's Tinder picture, where it's a picture of like his ATM receipt showing that he has hundreds of thousands of dollars in the bank. Again, the cocky asshole, the cocky douche. Again, it probably will work more than the other three, but who are you attracting with this too? That's something to take into consideration. Another one here, this was from RSD Nation. The guy says, "Do you like rough, misogynistic sex? Because you remind me of someone I hate." Now, this one has it all. Misspellings, vulgarity, negativity. Hey! Yeah, nah. So, moving right along here, after I give a hearty roll of the eyes, is the idiot. Okay, this guy, he'll just say like, he'll literally give like a one-word monosyllabic answer, like greeting, and that's it. Like, if he's more advanced, he might say like, "How's it going?" afterwards. Like, so he'll say like, "Sup," or "What's up," or "Hey." The thing is, the problem with this is there's no hook, right? What is the girl going to respond to this? There's no value given. It's putting the onus on her to do the work. I mean, I guess in a best case scenario, he's trying to seem like nonchalant or something. But, unless the profile is just absolutely mind-blowingly amazing and he looks like, some Greek god or something, I really can't see any scenario where the chick is going to be like, oh my God, it's my lucky day. Let's fuck this guy. Aside from the fairly rare girl who has like a fetish for dudes who look exactly like you, right? Like where the girl's like, "Oh, this is my shit right here." I mean, it's funny because it's rare, but that does happen, especially as you begin working volume and you get your profile like totally maxed out. And again, it's great when it does happen. It's great, but it's not super common. And even worse is in the rare case that the girl responds to this, which will usually be with like a similar one-word greeting. The guy then continues to ask pointless questions like, "What's up?" Okay, and here's a common exchange you might see here. The guy says, "Hi," and then the girl says, "Hey, what's up?" He says, "Chilling. You?" Her, "Just got out of class, LOL." Him, "And how was that?" I mean, dude, what the fuck is this shit? What the fuck is this shit? Like, where is it supposed to go from here? What connection has been built through this? None. Ultimately, you have to ask yourself, every message you send, how is this leading to the next step in the funnel? How is this bringing me closer to getting an actual date? I mean, it's crazy how many people think these messages are actually good. I literally have difficulty believing it. But again, they're so prevalent, in fact, that I'll frequently mock these cliches in my ensuing interactions with the girl in order to actually deepen rapport and simultaneously show her that I'm one of the few guys who actually gets it. Okay? So now let's have a look at some good examples. And of course, by good examples, I mean mine. Now, again, understand that these are fucking burned, okay? If you use them, there's a pretty good chance you're gonna get called out. And it makes me a little bit sad because these openers have worked absolute wonders for me for years. And my main opener is pretty much as close to perfect as I think a first message can possibly be. But hey, time marches on. I'll make up some new shit. Can you? See, that's the thing. What's important now is that we dissect it and we see the principles involved that made it work so well. So you can use that as kind of a base to go ahead and create your own message. The examples that I present here are merely to give you an idea of the overall tone. In fact, I'd even go so far as to say that most who try my personal style will end up failing pretty spectacularly because it isn't congruent and then they won't be able to follow up. So remember, part of the screening process is presenting yourself in an authentic way. Again, the so-called zero screen. So my message that I send is this. "Oh, hi there. I feel that you appear attractive and consequently would like to explore the possibility of enhancing your life by means of exposure to my awesomeness. K, thanks, bye." So let's explain, let's like really dissect this in depth and see why it works. First off, it's a form letter, but it's kind of designed to not look like a form letter with the "oh, hi" and the "K, thanks, bye." I know I say avoid, LOL speak, net speak. But again, these are tagged on, and in contrast with the overly formal language, they actually make it, it's actually kind of okay. Now, how did I come up with this? I'll tell you. I literally thought to myself, what exactly am I trying to say with an initial message? What am I trying to convey? Well, first off, I want to tell her that I think she looks attractive, and that as a result of this, I would like to, meet up with her, and that meetup is going to make her life better because I'm awesome. And I was like, how can I convey this? I know, I'll just actually say that. I will literally just say that. So again, Oh, hi there. I feel you appear attractive. I feel that you appear attractive. That doesn't even mean her looks. That could be just attractive in general. And I feel she appears. She might not actually be. That's the thing. She might not actually be attractive, but I feel that she appears attractive. And as a consequence of this, I would like to explore the possibility. I used to say I would love to explore the possibility, but I felt that that was like too much, right? I would like to explore the possibility of enhancing your life by means of exposure to my awesomeness. Her life will be enhanced, and I'm fucking awesome. So again, like I said, I get very, very, very good results with this, and I am a little sad to see it go, but whatever. So again, what are you trying to do there? You're trying to give a compliment, but not like too much, not needy. Again, think about all these principles that we went over earlier in this segment and apply them here. So again, I think she looks cute and I'd like to go out with her. That's basically it. A variant on this that I send sometimes would be, you look cool. Will you go to the prom with me? Right? Another one I used to send back in the day was, you're kind of cute, dork, with a semicolon capital P. Another option that I used to do in the past is, of course, the over-the-top ridiculous compliment. The key here with these is it's so ridiculous that it's seen as kind of tongue-in-cheek, right? Like kidding, not kidding. And of course, the classic that I used back on Yelp was, you appear to be a baby polar bear sliding down a rainbow into a pot of gold, right? And, this, again, like I said, this worked very well for me in the past, but now I prefer to reserve these types of compliments until the second message after she replies, right, to the first message. So, again, there you have it. I mean, I know that crafting the first message can actually seem pretty daunting, but again, it doesn't need to be perfect. Just bear that in mind. Just get something passable going that, fits the criteria that I've outlined here, and you should be good to go. And from there, you can actually do your own split testing and tweaking as you go along until you ultimately arrive at something that is going to get you a very consistent result.